The it's really, really hard. Let's back up a moment. This game is a Fantasy Flight reprint of an older game that I never really heard of before. But I saw it on the Board Game Geek, I read about it, I watched a couple of videos about it, and I thought, ooh, now here's a game that might scratch a very particular Hero Quest shaped itch. Yes, Hero Quest, I know, but Hero Quest is like a big, giant, huge gaming monolith all over UK culture and my life, so just gonna have to deal with it. Okay? Good? Okay? Right? Thank you. This game is in Hero Quest, but the ideas of the game are kind of, sort of, essentially, similarly the same kind of, in that you're a hero going down into a big scary dungeon, smiting enemies with fists and magic and swords, and more swords and fists and more magic, and then taking some treasure from the big scary dragon fella there, if you're lucky. Now I like the idea of that game, so I plonked down some cash, I got the game, it arrived in my house, and then only then did I realise that the game will actually scratch another of my board game miniatures. The kind of bitch that says, "Give me lots of the bits." Just look at it. You open the box and you're just confronted by stuff. All of these tiles that represent the dungeon, all of these cards, great little miniatures for the heroes, tokens, and just stuff. Just setting up the board game is an exercise in board game feng shui that needs a table of sufficient girth in order to play it. So you've got all the bits out, the board looks empty. This is because you explore the dungeon with these. You start in the corner, then work your way to the middle, and then back out again. You take a tile, flip it over, you get a room in the dungeon. Now at that point, many things can happen. It could be a trap, where you have to roll a dice to see if you pass. Fail it, you die. It could be a rickety bridge. Too much loot, and the bridge could collapse, killing you. It could be a spider's web, or a cave-in, or a monster. Or nothing at all. Yeah, but it's more likely that you'll die though. I think someone did the maths on this game once, and the odds of survival are something ridiculously low. I mean, it's entirely possible, and it's happened to me, that you get the game out, you set the whole thing up, you turn over the first card, and you're dead. Sounds fun, doesn't it? And you do have to be in a certain kind of mindset in order to enjoy Dungeon Quest. That certain kind of mindset that enjoys being kicked really hard in the nuts every now and then. But the thing that really gets to people about Dungeon Quest is it's all essentially down to luck. Now you have games like Formula D, which is all down to luck, but you can mitigate and control the luck in order to make it work for you. Whereas in Dungeon Quest, it's all down to the flip of a card or the roll of a die. There's only so much you can control before the whim of fate turns on you and lands on you like a bad day. The dragon cards are this in a microcosm. If you get to the centre, you find the dragon, who is asleep. You can then turn over a dragon card. If the dragon remains asleep, then you get a treasure card. And then you can try flipping over another dragon card to get more treasure. But if you get a card where the dragon is awake, then you get flambéed. All you're doing is turning over cards and trying not to get a bad one, relying on luck. But this element of luck works both ways. I mean, think of the game like a machine. The cards, the turning the tiles over, rolling the die. Everything moves around you like clockwork. And occasionally this whole machine syncs up. Then you can blast through the middle and get back out again, like you're late for an appointment and all the traffic lights suddenly turn green. But the next game you flip a tile over and that rickety bridge you're on collapses, sending you and your over-encumbered sack of loot flailing down into the darkness. And this is felt more when you're playing it by yourself. When you're playing with other people, this effect does get slightly lessened because then the game becomes more about egging your opponent on. The person who gets into the middle and back out again with the most gold wins. So then you're always trying to push yourself, or even better, push the other person that little bit further, employing what I like to call the psychology. It's an alright move, I suppose. Not going to go for any more treasure then? Bit weak on treasure today, aren't we? You sure about that? You sure? And then the game kicks you in the nuts. Again. So what we have here then is a game for a particular mindset. If you're the kind of gamer who likes that feeling of suspense, who likes not knowing what the next card's going to do, who likes living on the edge of the constant threat of death, then Dungeon Quest is going to be for you. But if you don't like being kicked in the nuts, probably best to avoid this one. But hey, look at all the bits!